Welcome to our Leaders Exchange series on Buzzword to Business Impact, AI and Talent Acquisition. I'm Avinash, as you all know, one of the founders of Global Talent Exchange. We are a talent mobility platform that connects global professionals and organizations to enable brain circulation through cross-border careers, collaboration, and knowledge exchange. We've been in business for over 5 years now, and this series is one of our flagship efforts to bring leaders like you together. It's my honor to be hosting you guys today, and the idea of this series is to trigger a meaningful exchange of viewpoints amongst industry leaders and see how we can come together to challenge assumptions, expand our perspectives, and identify opportunities we can unlock collectively. Today, it's clear that the conversation around talent is no longer just finding the right people, right? It's about finding them in a world being fundamentally reshaped by artificial intelligence. The big consulting firms are all signaling a massive shift in how we approach talent acquisition driven by AI. They're telling us that AI is no longer a futuristic concept in HR. It's a present-day reality and a competitive necessity. The core message is that AI is revolutionizing every stage of the talent lifecycle. Just to give you a gist, first up, efficiency and speed are the new baselines, right? AI is automating the high volume, low touch tasks like sourcing, screening, matching that used to bog down our recruiters. Today, we are talking about intelligent sourcing that unearths passive candidates we'd otherwise miss, and automate screening that can sift through thousands of resumes in minutes. Of course, this frees up our time and do what we do best in terms of building relationships with top tier talent. Second, the candidate experience is being completely reimagined. In a competitive market, again, impersonal hiring is like a death sentence for attracting the best. So chatbots are, providing 24/7 engagement, answering questions, and guiding candidates through the initial steps. This creates a seamless, efficient, and modern experience that reflects well on our brands. Third, we're also seeing a pivot to the skill-based hiring. The old model of relying on pedigree and past job titles is becoming totally obsolete. AI is giving us the tools to assess candidates based on their actual capabilities and potential. And of course, this leads to better hires and opens doors to more diverse and inclusive workforce. Also, finally, the conversation is not just about external hiring. It's also about internal mobility. AI also helps us kind of look at our own internal talent. This is very, very crucial for retention and for building a resilient, organization. So, as we begin our discussion today, I want us to think about AI not as a technology initiative, but a strategic imperative. The question is no longer if we should adopt AI in talent acquisition, but how can we leverage it to build the workforce that will drive our success for the next decade and beyond. So before we dive in, a gentle reminder again, this is a closed room discussion. So you all can be vocal in what you say. It will be attributed to you as an individual in case there's a challenge quoting your company's name. The session is being recorded, a copy of it will be shared with you. If you have a viewpoint, please raise your hand and we'll come to you. Let's keep it crisp so we can cover more ground. So We'll kind of split this discussion in three broad areas and explore. One, the strategic imperative, the why of it, and then the implementation and the practical realities, right? I mean, the how of it. And then we can also talk about, the future, what's next in it for us, right? So what we'll do is to, get started. We will go around the table, with a round of introduction. You can introduce yourself. You can tell us, your impact in the people function, and an opening statement in terms of what's happening at your end from an AI standpoint. What are some of the things that you are currently, using? So that'll help us. I'll go around as the way I see it on my screen. So we'll start with Sibra, and then we can go around. Over to you, Sibra. Sibra, over to you. Yes.
Thanks, Avinash, and good morning, everyone. I'm from Applied Waves. Applied industry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, I think we'll come back to you, Sibra.
Am I audible?
You're
I think it's
breaking up,
up.
Sibra.
So we'll come back to you, Sibra. Ramit, can we go with you?
Sure. So I'm Ramit. I represent LAM Research. I'm responsible for talent acquisition for India. And
I'm not sure something went wrong, but yeah.
Sibra, there's some issue with the audio.
Okay.
I think I've asked
There's a
Ramit
lag.
to go, and then we can come back. Yeah, sorry, Ramit.
no problem at all. Happens to all of us. Okay, so I am Ramit. I represent LAM Research. I am responsible for their India talent acquisition and leadership hiring for APAC. I've been with the company for 3 years. What date is today? So I'm completing 3 years day after at LAM, and 19 years in talent acquisition. I've been an HR business partner, comp and ben, and mostly talent acquisition throughout my career.
Awesome. So you were kind of make an opening statement, Ramit, about what you guys are doing
Sure.
in
Yep. So
LAM.
yeah, now Avinash and this group, we have come out of the why phase, to be honest, and we are now in the how phase of adoption of technology and finding out ways which are not defined by commercials and softwares which are being sold to our enterprise, but also finding ways how Copilot, how ChatGPT, whatever is being used in our capacity, can also help us do things on the ground, like creating a very basic regret email for a candidate whose resume comes from an email, or screening 2 profiles, comparing them, anything which is not on, let's say, our ATS platform, creating letters, drafting letters, etc. So we are finding all these capabilities of AI, but we are also exploring options like doing market research, getting insights which were easily not available unless you go through a bunch of studies online. Now AI can pull all that together. So we are looking at a lot of things. The why phase is still not there, Avinash, because what we have been told as an ATS and screening and a lot of what you said, internal candidate mapping, their scaling and development, chatbots, etc. for candidate experience. But there are many that we can do through AI, and we are discovering that on a day-to-day basis. So it's interesting, and we can talk more about it during our discussion.
Awesome. Chaya, you want to go next?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Avinash, and it's so wonderful to meet you all, the brilliant brains, and it's so great to connect with you all. My name is Chaya Mangesh. I'm leading the talent acquisition for tech hiring for India for Amazon. I'm with the organization for close to 10 years. I bring in about 20 years of experience within the HR landscape. Started my career as a comp and ben person, transitioned to HRBP. The first half of my career was more around HRBP portfolio. The second phase of my career is on leading the talent acquisition, and what I see is there's no looking back, because talent acquisition space gives us so many diverse challenges year on year. So I still don't find it as a status quo. So maybe that's one of the reasons I'm sticking along in the talent acquisition space. So yeah, that's me. So coming back to AI, and business sense, does it make business sense? I think Avinash, we have come far away in terms of why AI, because the artificial intelligence is spreading faster than the wildfire. Like if you look at the other technology transformations historically, it took many years, decades for people to adopt. You go back to Industrial Revolution, or you go back to even the recent in our memories, right? I'm sure all of us have gone through that internet revolution in 2000s. The adoption took some time. People, the training and all of that, it took some time for the business to transition, versus AI adoption is much higher and faster. And, people talk more of AI than anything else now. It's become like a regular conversations, and, in our regular topics, we discuss about AI. So there's definitely, we come beyond why we want AI, because in all portfolios we are seeing AI adoption. Specifically when it comes to talent acquisition, I think it's I would say, responsible AI is what I would perhaps talk about, how we want to adopt, because we are in the space of, engaging with people, and then, we deal with thousands and millions of profiles on a day-to-day basis. So how are we kind of doing justice to our roles? And then, we are kind of making sure that we are selecting the right profiles, and we are not biased about any kind of backgrounds or anything like that, right? So it's very important. When it comes to sourcing per se, like at Amazon, we have been, in fact, we have been instructed to experiment with AI, though we don't have like a clear boundaries and do's and don'ts yet. But it's not yet the process. Yes, you have to source through AI or whatever. We don't. So we have given flexibility for recruiters to leverage AI and then still align to the process. So there is a manual intervention as well as AI experimentation which is happening. So we have our internal AI tool. It's called Cedrix, Party Rocks, and the recruiters today are more of the app builders than just a typical HR or a typical recruiters who are sourcing and talking to candidates. So they build their own apps based on the Boolean searches, and so they have their own personas in terms of how they source and things like that. It's definitely faster. There's a lot of communication which has been automated. They don't really need to sit and type candidate communications every time. There are standard templates which is kind of improved, which are integrated within the ATS tool. But when it comes to, there are two segments, right? The high volume hiring, where you have heavy application inflow, the filtration. There's a lot of AI driven interventions to filter right set of candidates which are coming your way. People go through assessments and things like that, and then there are niche or experience hiring, where there is a lot of still the white glove touch is experimented in terms of you still outreach to the candidates, and then you still need to have those conversations and things like that. So we are in the transition phase. So to put it short, Avinash, we are we are still evolving in the how piece of it, and then we are still working on defining the framework, right? So there's no framework as such. There's broad guidelines, but the framework is still evolving. So that's the stage we are in.
Interesting, Shaya. Thank you. Sipra, your audio is okay now. Maybe we can.
We'll give it a try and see now.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So I think I just said that, I've been with Applied for 7 years, been in the industry, corporate world for 15 plus years, like many of you that I heard, and it was really good to hear. I've been an HR business partner throughout in my corporate role, and now moved to talent acquisition a quarter back. And I'm experiencing the challenges and the fun of the talent acquisition world. I started my career with Indian Army. I served in the Army for 5 years, and then I moved into the corporate world thereafter. So talking about a bit of how AI is being integrated in the organization, I think like all the other organizations, we are also in a phase where we are piloting things. We are using the AI tools which are prevalent in the industry. We're using it for all the things that everybody talked about, right? From resume matching, resume screening, automatic replies. The kind of effort that the recruiters used to put in the past, and now the kind of effort they're putting, at least in terms of resume screening, resume matching, has definitely gone down. They've more time now to think about how they can transition from being a recruiter to being a talent advisor, a strategic workforce advisor, rather than just being a recruiter. And I think that's the journey. Another area where we are also experimenting with AI is the analytics part. I think a lot of decision making is where AI can also help in playing a role. So we're also looking at how we can use AI and how we can use the different data sets we have to identify better talent pools, to identify the talent persona that's required for a particular job. And it's at a very early phase where we are experimenting. And I also feel like, today in the industry, most organizations are in the phase where they're experimenting. I do not think there's an organization where I've heard that they've cracked the AI game, right? It's in the early phases of adoption, trying out, piloting different things. And the more we play around with AI, the more you understand what is the level of opportunities that it unfolds the more you use it. So we're also in that journey of the AI transition. Of course, if you hear our CEO talking, he talks about two things in every quarterly all hands, and that's productivity and velocity. And for these two, the AI is something, like you said in the beginning, Avinash, it's not about whether we want to be in the game, it's a competitive advantage. So it's not only in talent acquisition, but across the organization. The experiment is going on in terms of how do you leverage AI to create capacity? And the second one, which I said, how do you leverage AI for a strategic partner for your decision making as well?
Fantastic. Chipra, thank you on that. Karthik, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I suppose I'm last.
No, Sumant is there, and then we also have.
Sumant is there. I can go last.
Okay. You can come in, Karthik.
Okay, super everyone. Good morning. I'm Karthik Purushotham. I lead the customer success talent acquisition at Salesforce. From a background, I'm not been long yet. It's third year at Salesforce, but feels long because at the pace that this organization is growing. Prior to this, I was with Atlassian. I spent a lot of time with eBay PayPal building their India story. I know Yadu, Avinash goes back, I think close to a decade that I know these two gentlemen. That's my second part of my career, but the first part, I've always been in talent acquisition, but I had a business role managing Dell's application outsourcing business out of EMEA. So that was a unique role which gave me a sense of how business works and how talent acquisition can, really partner and add value. So that's a little background about me. So I'll quickly, my line of thought on two things. On AI in business, right? Avinash spoke about how it's changing. To me, AI is bringing a change in the talent landscape in terms of domain centricity. Like keeping AI as a backdrop, I'm seeing that most of the business lines or the industry is going towards business alignment with domain centricity, be it example, finance, healthcare, and manufacturing. But if you see from an AI layer, everyone is a builder now or a user, right? From technical skills, we've always expected design, integrate, and now we are talking about managing AI systems. So that's another perspective that I have from business. Now, moving on, if I assess in the last 18 months, the rubbers hit the road. I would say we've been talking about AI for a long time. But last 18 months, we're seeing a massive shift in early careers, how early careers, it's impacting early careers, mid careers, and senior. If I break it down, if you see earlier careers, there is a dip of almost 15% in talent. Again, I'm not saying all freshers. In general, there is a decline I see in especially AI exposed roles. And that's what we are seeing as Salesforce. In mid, we are seeing a jump of 8%. Now, why we are seeing that jump is the trend of AI is the ability to automate certain tasks does exist. But I think the logical decision making, especially, is something that AI is still not taken over. And that's where we see that our investments as Salesforce is predominantly been on high impact roles, mid-level careers, and especially senior. They still have a market. So that's my perspective. Just last one, I'm sure Shipra and Chaya spoke about some of the automation. I'll not take some time, but I wanted to call one thing is, maybe if you guys get some time, read about Agentforce. We are a big proponent of giving back to the tech community. So Trailhead, everyone in Salesforce is expected to be an agent blazer or an agent innovator. So in talent acquisition, sometimes I ask, I really need to be certified. So that's the level of expectations are, at least in this organization, the fabric, if I want to call it, is completely being expected to re-platform for us. So do take some time, read about Agent Innovator. My daughter who's in engineering, she keeps asking about, there's so much about Agent Innovator, should I get certified? I said, do get certified. So long story short, that's a quick background and my AI perspective from hiring as well as where we are, Avinash.
Fantastic, Purushotham. Some interesting pieces there in terms of the percentage that you mentioned about. We'll come back to that, a little bit from now. Sumant, if you could just introduce yourself and.
Thank you, Avinash. Hello all and good morning to all of you. I'm Sumant. I lead 6th R&D as a co-CEO for India, very closer to business now from past 3 years. Also lead the HR and talent equation for European region for tech. So I have around 18 years of experience completely into recruitment and past 8 years into business partnering, comp and ben, and leading teams across regions. I've scaled 6th R&D from 0 to 300 plus. It's been 8 years since we started the organization. So I was the second employee to join 6th year in India and open the office. For people who do not know 6th, 6th is purely into car rentals. We are the largest car rental companies in the world. We are close to 4 billion euros in revenues, and we are present from almost 112-year-old organization. So it's a German-based car rental organization. I'm sure people who have traveled out of India to Europe and North America and the West would have seen or probably used our services in the past. So I was the first employee here, started the organization. And then I think prior to 6th, I was with LinkedIn, started LinkedIn Technology Development Center here, scaled LinkedIn from close to 30-40 engineering development team to when I moved out after 4 years, it was close to around 300. So kind of a startup person. LinkedIn was a startup in 2014 when I joined. I think Yadu and I have closely worked with each other. We were cab mates at LinkedIn. So I used to get a lot of insight in terms of how the product was, what the company is doing, though I was part of the talent acquisition team. It's been a good 18 years now. I was kind of relieved after hearing Chaya to Sipra to Karthik to Ramit saying that, okay, that you have come from very, very different backgrounds and been in talent acquisition now, from business end to talent acquisition, from business partnering to talent acquisition. So I kind of relieve saying that, okay, yes, I'm no different. I think I've seen outliers in this group, and I feel very proud that I'm also fitting into this group and this conversation today. So that's fun. It's been a good 3.5 years since I took over as the co-CEO and managing director of 6th India. So I'm very, very closer to business. And what brought us closer to AI was we have seen a lot of innovation and adaptation when it comes to AI, like agentic AI, chat, bots, and things like that, when business started adopting it. That's when we realized that, okay, when business is adopting it, why can't HR and TA not adopt it? There are a lot of use cases where the business is trying to solve, because you day in and day out, you see a lot of customers trying to see the reservations when it comes to rentals, modify the reservations and things like that. And there are a lot of AI innovations happening in that space. But what was happening in HR and AI was the question, and we started slowly adopting different tools. I don't mind naming them, I think, including Workday, probably expanding Workday to predictive analytics, and also there are smart recruiters which we use, which helped us streamlining a lot of processes and giving predictive analytics and resume parsing capabilities for recruiters. Of course, it brought a lot of speed. I think the speed of hire was drastically improved, close to 30 to 40% easily. I'm purely talking about tech, non-tech. I am not responsible for non-tech recruitment and business partnering. I've seen certain scale in those areas as well, but my knowledge is limited to, my data is limited to tech, what I'm speaking about. So there is a lot of improvement in speed, but I think speed also brought up some questions on business partnering end, right? So I mean, I'm also speaking on business partnering end. So speed is, of course, speed is vanity. And retention is sanity. So that's the term which they use, right? So you bring in people, you bring in process, you're getting great people to the board, but how are you retaining them? So we are seeing the end-to-end spectrum there. Of course, the reduction of time is very, very important for recruiting. And there is, as Sipra said, the same things does not actually apply for leadership hiring, right? So leadership hiring is very, very, Chaya. Chaya said, I think leadership hiring is very different. And it requires a different skill set. You need to speak more, you need to talk more. It's more about human connections, bringing into that picture. But when it comes to other bulk hiring, even in tech for matter, I think things have been kind of sorted. But we are focusing on you have probably 3 hours a week giving back to you now, including the hiring managers, including the recruiters. You have enough time for yourself now. So what do you want to do? You want to focus on customer experience or a candidate experience, which you want to focus on. You want to have meaningful conversations with your candidates and hiring managers. You want to beautifully start crafting your job description, which you don't want AI to draft your job descriptions. So those kind of meaningful conversations need to happen. And of course, there are multiple areas when you can act as a talent advisor. You can go up with your market intelligence. You have beautiful tools available in the market where you can get clear insights. Go have meaningful conversations with your hiring managers, with your business and your leadership, and say, you know what, hey, I am bringing this value onto the table. I'm no longer stuck into Boolean searches, or earlier they used to say, okay, Control F is what talent acquisition is about. I don't believe in that, right? So you understand the business end to end. You know what your product is doing. You know where is the impact. Have those conversations with the business. Give them the insights, and that's when they start realizing the value which the talent acquisition person brings to them. Like, okay, yes, he's an advisor, he's a partner, and he's just not a recruiter anymore. So I think that is the shift we are fundamentally seeing. And if sooner we adopt, the better it is. If we just say, yeah, it's another boom, it's going to phase out, then I think we are at the receiving end of the spectrum for sure. So that's something which is happening internally.
Great. Welcome, Suman. Thank you. So we also have Vasudha Mangalam, the CHRO of Ultraviolet Automotive. Hi, Vasudha. This is Avinash. We're just going through a round of introductions and an opening statement on what's happening at your end from an AI standpoint in the talent acquisition piece. So over to you, Vasudha.
Thank you. So as you know, having about 27 years of experience across multiple organizations, AI, specifically, if I have to mention about AI, long ago, when at Yahoo we had to scale, although it was not specifically called AI, we used a lot of mechanisms and means to kind of accelerate scaling of hiring, but at the same time, even the quality of hiring, right? So we built in internal engines that could kind of, when we call out as what is a Yahooite, what are the important characteristics and what are the values. So today you see Amazon and all of other companies coming up with a list of line items that they adopt for the 11 rounds of interview or 12 rounds of interview, right? What does each round do? How does the filtering mechanism happen? So way back, even before Amazon came into India, right? I'm talking about 2000 to 2005 era. We actually had some really interesting in-house built tools to identify who should be a Yahoo, right? And that's when I started to see how these tools can be made as a very good engine for us to kind of support us in our endeavor to obviously get great talent. But the key element is how to use them. So I have continued to make this as my orientation or induction piece to folks, where I continue to say that tools are fine. They are aids, they are support systems, but what's important is, do you even know who you are bringing into the system, why you're bringing into the system, and what is it that you're expecting out of this person, right? And this is very, very important, whether you're a small organization or a large organization. This conversation is outside of the tools in itself. Either a talent acquisition leader or a CHRO or a hiring manager, all of these people collectively have to understand. So I bear a lot of importance to this area of understanding and work, and we call them as a very structured interviewing process, where every aspect of identifying a talent who's also a human, and how he or she, when I say he, please, I'm not orienting towards only he, but what I meant is how he or she conducts himself or herself in a certain scenario is extremely important for the success of that whole process. So that's my opening,
Welcome, Vasudha. So, what I'm hearing, across the board is, at least the ones that's represented here, is every organization is piloting stuff. There's a lot of trial and error that's kind of happening when it comes to, adoption of AI in different areas. If you were to take, the three, fundamental areas where we want to see great impact. One is on the recruiter side. The second is on the candidate side. And the third is on the business side. If we can talk a little bit more about some of the, use cases within your organization, if you have kind of implemented something, where you've seen great impact or business impact, which can kind of help others here to kind of look at some of those tools and stuff. So we'll probably start with Karthik, and then we can go around. Karthik, over to you. Karthik, you're on mute.
Yeah, Avinash, sorry, I'm trying to navigate between two screens and I missed my cursor there. Okay, from a talent acquisition, Avinash, not just at Salesforce, as I said, we've been speaking about AI for a while now, in my previous experience as well. Especially in a market like India, I've been leading regional markets, especially when high volume is there. I think, how do we make recruiters' life a little easy, especially from an outbound? There I've seen some efficiency, especially from a ranking, where these are tools that I'm talking does exist. I won't name the tool, of course, but there are ranking tools really helped us to be efficient, where these ranking tools learned over time our patterns and I would say the persona. I heard persona of the profiles that we look for, and helped our recruiters be more efficient. Because I can tell you some numbers. In my previous marketplaces organization, we were attracting just before or around COVID about 30,000 applications. Humanly impossible. So that was one efficiency that I saw a big impact. I know there's a lot of automation that we are considering at this stage. There are more than 160 different use cases with Agentforce. I don't know if you've heard about Agentforce. Agentforce is one of the rebranded Einstein Copilot, which is also a kind of an efficiency at scale that we are offering to our customers. Now, when we offer a solution like that, this already exists, why not in talent acquisition? So the team is working towards 160 different use cases, starting from reach out to ops, candidate engaging. So we're trying to bring in certain tools, in-house tools, which can help us be more efficient. From an experience standpoint, we're trying to bring more unified platforms, because that's where we see recruiters struggle a bit running between multiple tools, right? So we're trying to bring in some unified platforms which can bring some efficiencies. Overall, we're looking at how we can collaborate with hiring teams, how we can culturally, like from a candidate experience, how do they have real-time updates from a decision making. I heard faster decision making, consistency in scale, because the volumes are pretty high in market like India. How do we, even if it's a volume event, how can we create that high touch experience for our candidates real time? That's where we are focusing on. I know it's a broad based, because I don't want to go specific to each processes and say that this is what we implemented and getting better, but this is where we are focusing on at a global level.
Cool, Karthik. Chaya, you want to talk about what's happening at Amazon?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's great insights, Karthik, and so much I'm learning. So at Amazon, see, one of the things what we have, in fact, what we are focusing more on creating the infrastructure. Sorry, one sec. Yeah, getting another call. So creating more of an infrastructure to equip not just talent acquisition across in non-tech workforce in terms of ML concepts, AGI, artificial general intelligence concepts, and what is responsible AI. How do you build your own, let's say, for instance, agentic AIs and things like that. So what's happening is, some of these interventions perhaps is kind of giving way to some new process workflow. Workflows through AI, right? There's many workflows which are being created using AIs, and in fact, the recruiters today, like I lead the specialty recruiting where my team hires for the experienced machine learning scientists and the architects and things like that, the builders basically. Again, this talent is not in volumes, right? I mean, there is a very unique search, definition each of the recruiter perhaps defines and builds, and so recruiters are in fact building a tool which gives them the specific profiles, and also there is a preparation strategy which they kind of leverage AI for candidates to customize the interview preparation strategy. For instance, like in Amazon, we have the interview process is very exhaustive, and there is a lot of depth that we get into in terms of when we evaluate the techies. They are expected, whatever level they are, they're expected to be very hands-on when it comes to building the systems and things like that. So there is significant amount of time and effort gets into preparing these candidates. So how we are leveraging in automating some of those processes, and how do we customize some of the prep strategy, which is very unique to a person's background and which stage of interview they are and things like that. So there are certain agentic AIs which are being built by the recruiters. So right now what we are also looking at is encouraging recruiters to take these ML courses in terms of how they can customize the workflows, what they need. So as I said, it's not very standardized at this point in time. We are experimenting, and we are also tracking in terms of what is the outcome coming from some of these AI tools. At a global level, we are also looking at how do we kind of there's a lot of time which gets into manual sourcing and things like that. How can we look at leveraging AI to kind of simplify the sourcing activities, for instance, through ATS itself, right? How do we kind of build the workflows based on the kind of skills we hire? How do we fast track and help recruiters and save some time for them, so give back that time where recruiters perhaps focus more on talent advisory roles and create impact to the business, not just sitting and then manually you're evaluating a lot of CVs and things like that. So some of the manual works are getting automated. At the same time, we are also encouraging recruiters to certify themselves as talent advisors. We are offering a lot of trainings for them to how do we engage with the business more in a better manner, and maybe eventually the model we may be looking at is some of these workflows can be automated, and you do much more value added services to the business, and then have more strategic conversations with the business and make an impact. I think that's how we are envisioning, but yeah, I mean, that's the path we may be taking ahead.
A couple of good aspects there. One is the interview prep you said is kind of getting automated, and of course, from a recruiter standpoint, a whole lot of coaching in terms of building agents and stuff, which is I think the way forward. That's fantastic. So we also have Charu from Intuit. Karthik, we're just coming to you in a moment. Charu, hi. We just did a round of introductions and made an opening statement on what's happening at your end from an AI standpoint in talent acquisition. If you could just kind of tell us about that, and then we are talking about what are some of the use cases within your organizations that's kind of making an impact. Over to you, Charu.
I'll just give an introduction of myself and then I'll let the others speak. Hi. AI is taking over even the recruitment space, right? So at Intuit as well, there is a lot of focus on AI as far as recruitment is concerned and how we're going to be implementing it on a day-to-day basis. I will get into the details about what we're doing because Intuit has a very unique process when we do our interviews, which is, I don't know if a lot of other companies follow it, at least my previous companies that I come from don't follow it. So we'll talk about it. I'm just going to stop it right here and let you all talk because I know I joined in between. I couldn't log in the beginning for some time.
Okay, all right. I think we'll come back to you, Charu. You had a point, Karthik.
I think Chaya, mentioned about it. Just wanted to, while at each layer of the process, there's a lot of agents that we are building from automation and things. But what Chaya did mention, I had the same thing. It's not efficiency for efficiency's sake, right? That's what I wanted to make a point because it's about creating that space that matters for recruiting because how do we build stronger relationship with our customers? That's the hiring team or candidates. How can we have deeper conversations with candidates? Because when AI came in, there's as I said, there are 160 use cases. It all looks like this is going to make our life brilliant. It's going to make our life easy. But we're conscious about what are those that we want to create. We want to ensure that our recruiting professionals, our team are focused on what they're good at, which is selling. So how do we enable those? I want to go into specific, but that's where we are because we've seen use cases. There's a lot of excitement. We want to create some agents, but the decision making, we want to still keep it with us because we're not sure how AI is going to, from a compliance and other things, how that's going to pan out. So net, we're looking at more not efficiency for efficiency's sake.
Got it.
From that.
So Sumant, do you want to bring in your perspective there?
Sure, Avinash. So what we are doing internally is, of course, there is a full spectrum of hiring which happens right from campus. Since you also hire a lot of folks from campus as well, we see a lot of volume in tech. Now, that is the area which we are also trying to focus, but internally, we don't want to be getting involved in building something which we don't have an expertise on. So it's the question of build versus buy. There are some really good tools out in the market which specifically addresses certain needs of the hiring spectrum, right from campus to onboarding. So there, I think there are tools which we use like HackerRank, which is completely enabled for coding tests and challenges, including for our laterals. The smart recruiters part of it takes care of certain experiences when it comes to automatic scheduling, giving them the visibility of who is taking the interview, what is that person's background, what is the year of experience that person is bringing onto the table, giving them a full loop interview experience which talks about, there is no cutoff in between. You will go through the full loop experience. These are the panel, these are their background. This is what you need to prepare for with the help of an auto scheduling, which tells them, okay, you can schedule, you can move, and these are the availability and things like that. But having said that, internally, are we building any tools? So my answer is no. I think we are giving data to these tools, and there are a lot of data privacy which we want to take care of. I mean, of course, it's a European, it's a German based company, and we are closely focused on GDPR and things. So we are very cautious in terms of what kind of tools we want to use. Also, at the same time, what kind of data we want to give to the tools. And there is no single platform as such, right? So as I said, I think certain tools are specifically solving certain challenges, like coding challenges with plagiarism in place. then candidate experience, sending out the invites, giving the calendar visibility. At the same time, there are companies like 84.ai, Meta, Candidate.fyi, who are doing some really great work addressing very specific challenges when it comes to recruiting. We are not using those tools, but I'm saying there are fragmented tools. But as an organization, I don't know to what extent can you integrate all these tools with your existing website. I mean, at least if it addresses 70% of your challenges, business needs, then it makes sense. Otherwise, I think it's very difficult. I have to go through different vendors, think about their data privacy needs, pay different users. At the end of the day, I mean, your idea is to streamline and make your talent acquisition teams efficiency more, give candidates a better experience. On the other end of the spectrum, you are spending thousands of dollars to implement this tools and also creating new workflows and bringing that change to the business. So there is no unified platform, which I can say, but in fragments, there are some really good tools which is currently available in the market. So some we are in the process of discussion, and some we are already using it internally, and some we don't want to build anything. That is very clear. We don't want to build anything. It's more the buy when it comes to addressing our talent acquisition needs.
Makes absolute sense, Sumanth. Yeah, sometimes it's good to just kind of pick off the shelf and work with
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. So Shipra, do you want to kind of speak about what's at Applied Materials?
Sure, happy to. So I think what Karthik, Chaya and Sumanth already talked about, some of those, like I already said, is something we are using. Of course, the recruiting tool that we use allows us to rank the profiles, and I think Karthik was talking about it. That's one feature that, even when it's not volume hiring today, even if I open a leadership role, I end up getting 300 to 400 profiles. And only a small percentage, 10% hardly of them are fit for the role. And the feature that the recruiting tool offers helps us in ranking some of those profiles. So those kind of standard features which the recruiting tool offers, right from resume ranking or streamlining the process of coordination between a recruiter and TA operations and the hiring manager, is something that we are using, and it's actually giving us benefits in the way the seamless coordination between the different stakeholders are happening in the process. One place where we are looking at also using some of these tools are the early career hiring, especially the campus hiring, where again it's a volume game. It's not only in India, across the world it's a volume game. So how do you have better screening process, and at the same time the candidate experience at a campus level is very important. So that's one area that we are experimenting with. The other part where we are looking at is how the data that is generated from these tools is helping us get better analytics in terms of the quality of hire. That's a focus area that we are looking at. It's not only the data which is coming from our recruiting tool, it's also the data that is coming from our workforce internally in terms of the different systems that we have today. How do you link the data and see the quality of hire? Are we able to generate some insights towards that? That's another area that we are experimenting with. And Karthik brought out an important point, right? We have all these tools, Sumanth and Karthik were talking about. Today, the tech stack, if you look at an HR IT or a tech stack, it's so vast and so fragmented, and the number of tools that HR is using for different set of processes with the data not flowing from one to next. The focus is to also integrate this tech stack so you're able to draw value from the data that's coming in. So those are some of the focus areas that we are looking at.
Fantastic. This huge loads of data that's kind of getting generated with this AI. Yeah, we'll come back to Charu. Charu, if you can tell us a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay, so I think, AI is something that it's becoming daily bread and butter for all of us, right? And as a company, Intuit has multiple tools that have already been in use with us for a long time now. And when I say long time now, it's been there for almost a year and a half. So primarily what the talent acquisition team is trying to do is ensuring that we accelerate the transformation or the growth of our company proactively by using or leveraging AI for different aspects of recruitment, right? One would be in ensuring we elevate the hiring manager's experience by automating some of the processes that they're using, reduce your time spent on manual tasks, and also helping them make faster and strategic decisions, right? And the other thing that we also have, and I'm not sure if it is common for everyone, but after a phone screen, we give a candidate a craft or a case study, and then they have to come back with a presentation, irrespective of whether they're technical or non-technical folks. And then a team of 4 people sit and do the interview where they have to do a presentation. And also, and then we do one-on-ones as well as two-on-ones. So basically for this process also, we're using AI to look at how you actually look at different types of crafts according to the skills, according to the job description, very specific to different places, and then different groups, and then take it on from there. Similarly for TA, what we want to look at tools that lead to ensure that there is more consistency in the way we're able to communicate, and then how we're able to report out, and how our reporting is standardized, or even in the manner that we're able to handle the discussions with candidates and how we brief them, because it's a very unique way of briefing and what we expect out of them. We don't use it for summarizing because that is a privacy, or there is a thing about privacy. We don't have AI integrated as yet. We're waiting for AI to get integrated into our internal tools so that we can start using it. But we don't use it during our, we have something called as a briefing session post all the interviews where all of us sit. We don't use it during that. We don't use it to screen resumes. When we have to upload a resume or summarize, until and unless they remove the names and things like that. That's primarily because of the factor that you don't want to put in people's resume into the tool, and privacy is removed. And lastly, for also ensuring we able to streamline the candidate's journey to ensure we're able to give them clear, personalized communication and clarity on what's happened and the process, and as well as the interaction. We actually have gems that we are setting up for the entire organization as far as TA is concerned, because this organization is filled with technical people as well as non-technical, and people who also do taxes in the US. So you hire people who can file taxes for you. So to just creating generic gems, and then starting to specifically cater or personalize them to each of the business units, or rather each of the teams that we're working with. So it's actually very personalized, and it's in usage, and we have a team that's actually working on it over and above their day's job to actually create these gems and get work done as far as AI is concerned.
Brilliant. Vasudha and Ramit, do you guys want to kind of talk a little bit about, okay, maybe Vasudha first and then Ramit. Vasudha, over to you. Vasudha, can you hear us? Okay,
Avinash?
we'll come back. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry
Yes.
about that. There's an internet issue. Anyways, so I'll go with what we have at Ultraviolet. Ultraviolet actually has 4 to 5 different
We can't see you, Vasudha. Is your video on?
Yeah, you can see me now,
Yeah.
but the connection is not strong. If it's getting disconnected, so I have to switch back to only audio.
Sure.
All right. So we have 4 to 5 different segments of hiring. One, of course, what we do for plant and production. that's more Neem and Naps that takes care of it. There's other core hiring with respect to business. Then all of your engineering, which is R&D, comes through another funnel, and everything else. Design is another one, and then everything else. So there's like 5 different segments that we cater to. So we use fragmented approach. We don't use one tool for all. We have a couple of tools. We use HackerRank mostly for coding and support around that. We're currently evaluating a tool to help us reduce TAT. The time that we take to kind of funnel the resumes and have it sent to the hiring manager. So we want to reduce that. The moment we identify, the moment we actually get the JD and have an intake meeting and clear about the requirement, we want to make sure that the resumes get to the manager at the less than 48 hours or less than even in 24 hours. So that we are working on. We're evaluating tools for that. We're also evaluating tools where we want to kind of make sure if there's a candidate that is using any kind of mechanisms to answer the questions that's been asked, but we want to go ahead one level up and say, okay, we want to debate on the way the person is answering, right? So we want to look at tools that can help us do that. That's the second one. But predominantly we use Smart Recruiters and HackerRank for some of our requirements and for certain segments of hiring.
Okay. All right, Vasudha. Ramit, what do you?
Sure, I would not take too much of time in covering what we have already spoken of. Some of the very rudimentary things like ranking candidates using ATS, etc. I think everybody is doing that. All ATSs by now support some kind of ranking systems, if not. So I would just talk about how we are using it in LAM to elevate what a recruitment function is delivering and how we are adding value to the business. I look at it in two buckets. One is the quality of work that we are enhancing for the recruiters, which in turn creates value for the business. For example, we use AI to get some questions for the intake meeting, how we can prepare our recruiters to go to intake meetings with more questions in hand so that they are able to use the hiring manager's time to understand as much about the job profile. Similarly, any insights that they need. I mean, it's very easy to find out companies for a particular skill that are having certain skills in the country. LAM as an organization, just like Applied, is knowledge-based in the nature of its work. So it's very hard to have an external AI platform to get integrated. However, what we have is something by Microsoft. We have an ATS system. So we are leveraging that. Like I said, the quality of work that we enhance, creating better emails, better communications for recruiters, summarizing conversations. For example, when we are doing meetings with hiring managers or with candidates, it's helpful. You can use transcriptions to summarize minutes, because nowadays a lot of us are packed back to back, and it's an effort, or you need an assistant to actually create notes and circulate them as per your conversation. So that helps me and my recruiters to also create notes from the candidates, from the hiring managers. So that's largely, and few other things as well, summarizing on resumes, summarizing on job descriptions, etc. That's how we are enhancing the quality of the work that we are delivering to LAM Research. Also, operationally, it's helping, like, India, many of you said, ranking helps because in India, you get a bunch of applications as soon as you post a requisition. So it helps you rank candidates across the board. It also helps you schedule interviews, send invites, collect feedback, and a lot of things that you can do operationally to be more efficient. What we have to be mindful is that the time that we are creating for ourselves by using more of AI, we are able to put back in enhancing the overall value that we create, instead of trying to do more. So we have to balance it in a way where we say, okay, let's see how, if it's creating more efficiency or if it's creating more quality of work. So that's a fine balance that we are trying to figure out with our day-to-day learning over the last 1 year in talent acquisition. And we have to be really mindful whether the recruiters are also scaling up to be advisors, right? I mean, this being an operational job for the last 2 decades I've been into this industry, I've seen talent acquisition to be a very operational, very transactional role. Are the recruiters ready to pick up something which is more strategic in nature, where they're able to deliver conversations and insights and thoughtfulness that is required? So some recruiters may be able to scale up, some recruiters may not be able to scale up depending on what coaching, mentoring they get. So our focus is to get them there as quickly as possible, because like I said, the time that we are earning through using more of AI, are we able to put that in the right area? Otherwise, it will just be, we are managing 60 recs, then we'll manage 80 recs, and then, our lives would not change much. So we are trying to see if this can create more impact from a LAM research standpoint in how we look at talent acquisition as a function, how we are perceived by the business and the value that we create, the importance that we hold in the decision-making process, all of it. So quite a lot that we have learned from AI using over the last year or so, especially that we can't depend on it entirely, especially that it can create cognitive offloading, which we have to avoid, right? We have to keep the mouse in here running as much as possible for us to be sharp. And also, how do we create adoption amongst the recruiters, right? Adoption has always been a challenge, be it ATSs, be it any kind of tools and technology, especially for the people on the ground. The change management is also a task. So how are we able to show the value to the recruiters for them to take it more seriously and adopt? All of those things are the background and the backdrop of AI adoption in LAM research. So that's in summary what we are trying to create here, and only time will tell how good we are and how good the technology gets.
Fantastic, Ramit. So what again I'm hearing across is AI is largely driving efficiencies across areas that it's kind of getting implemented largely at this point. Predictive engines, not so much is what I'm seeing, to be able to look at the future, what's it looking like. But one of the key elements of, using a powerful tool like, AI is, it comes with significant responsibility as well, right? So what are some of the most pressing ethical consideration? Be it, algorithmic, bias to, data privacy, transparency, and, of course, do we proactively address to ensure, the use of, AI is fair, compliant, and, is aligned to our company values? What are some of the downsides, and what are some of the things that you have seen that, okay, this is causing an issue and we should not be kind of looking at this? Probably, Charu, do you want to go first? And then we go to Chaya and Sipra, and then Sumant and Ramit and Sudha.
Thanks. Hey, so like I told you, one of the most important thing is definitely privacy. So I think we at Intuit have a thumb rule that you will not, and this is basically because of privacy, we will not record any of our meetings, right, through AI. especially when we're doing something called as a craft debrief, where you're taking notes about a specific candidate, or even the interviews will not be recorded because you don't know how a AI tool can use it externally or even interpret it at a later point of time. So none of our interviews are recorded, none of our notes, that we take manual notes. And if we want AI to help us summarize it, then we type in those notes. Actually, it is double work, but it's also about the privacy of the person who's actually coming in for an interview. Because what we think when they come in for an interview, what they also do is when they present something called as the craft or the presentation, it's their proprietary. It's like their proprietary product, and you don't want to put that onto an AI, which will then get published into the general domain where anybody can access it. So we don't record meetings, we don't record interviews, and even when we are putting in data, it is always all the important thing is always camouflage or removed, and then only then we put it into the tool. Even while doing ranking of profiles, we remove most of the important data has to be removed and then put it in. Otherwise, again, the same thing gets into the it's just recorded. AI is a tool which records your data and then gets you better information over a period of time. And so these are things that we actually follow when we're doing this, to ensure that there is that sensitivity and that integrity, where you do not have somebody else's data going into the market without their permission, or you're also doing the same for your own company's data, which is very integral and confidential.
Okay, candidate data, very important there.
Not only candidate, even the internal data.
Internal,
right?
yeah. Absolutely.
Anything related to even our meetings, only very few internal meetings are allowed to be recorded. We don't record all meetings as well. If it's confidential, we don't let AI take summary notes. We take personal notes on those.
Fantastic. Chai, you want to come in?
Yeah, just please excuse me. I'm actually on my way. I might have a patchy network. Am I audible, first of all?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think it's a big question for not just for organizations like Amazon or any other companies, right? I think ethical AI is definitely something. There's a lot of research happening, and we can't still pinpoint and say that this is this is what is right, this is what is not right, and then can we completely trust AI? That's why we leverage AI more as an assistant rather than AI telling us this is what you should do, right? I mean, you should use with your judgment when you're leveraging AI. It's not completely dependent on AI when it comes to making decisions throughout the hiring process or any other workflows we are engaging with. It's just an assistant. It is something like you make your judgment about a particular process or particular activity, and then maybe AI you can check, okay, if this is right or wrong, and things like that. So with that backdrop, I think what we also do is we use some of the tools internally to summarize some of the discussions we have had. Again, we still go ahead and update our tools manually. We don't have AI updating our interview feedback manually, automatically, right? There is no voice to text kind of features enabled. I mean, that option is available, but then we don't want to enable that. When you're interviewing, you still want an individual making notes of the discussions and then updating, and maybe the AI, where it can probably help us in terms of summarizing some of the text which is already there, in kind of giving a crisp output. But still we follow, we give time for the interviewers, especially when we are concluding a hiring decision for any individual. We still spend that good 30 to 45 minutes in discussing about candidates' pros and cons. That can be completely automated. I mean, in a conceptual manner, but we don't want to do that. We can have AI assisting us in terms of summarizing some of those notes, but then we don't want to have AI recommending it. So I think that is very clear for us in terms of there is AI and EI goes hand in hand. So your EI has to come first and AI can only assist. So some of these things you can continue to experiment and then, validate and then see where it is making sense, but then a complete automation, no. So there's various automatically done, but we don't want to kind of, when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to even, having conversations with the candidates, and then we need to still continue with having, authentic involvement in that rather than having a tool interacting and engaging and things like that.
Okay, so your audio is a little patchy, but we kind of hear what you say, Chaya. We'll just come back to you.
Sure.
Sumant, do you want to kind of tell what's up at 6th?
Sure. I think, generally the conversation revolves around what AI can and cannot do, or probably where you want to limit the use of AI, right? So, there are certain areas where you can clearly have the use of AI openly. It's things like resume parsing, skill matching, sourcing intelligence, forecasting or giving predictive analytics, or also let's assume that scheduling and chatbots are probably straightforward applications of what AIs can actually do. But what we don't want, or probably is there are facial analysis, emotion recognition tools which is there on the market, which clearly tells you what is your mood, how are your expressions and things like that. You don't want to use that. Things like very sensitive attributes which may be presented during the interview, you don't want to record that and then AI using it against you, and ultimately AI making an automated final hiring decisions which says that, this is the right person and this is a person whom you need to hire. So I think we need to have fair bit of accountability. What we generally follow, even though we don't use that heavy AI tools currently, it's just restricted to smart recruiters and some Workday features enabled from AI and HackerRank. What we don't want is what we want ideally is AI informs the decision, but we make the final call. It's like all high impact decisions like rejections to final shortlist to offers definitely require a human oversight. I think there's still a little headway to go towards implementing a full-fledged AI solutions, but we do get involved when it comes to important decisions or high impact decisions where AI probably gives us most of the things on the platter, but at the end of the day it is the humans who actually take a call and say, this is what we want to do in this decision. So we kind of have a general guiding principles around it, around fairness, transparency, accountability, and privacy. And a lot of countries have different privacy rules as well. So we like to stick to that. Of course, we are limiting the use of AI primarily to see how exactly it takes the data and probably how it will show up the results a couple of years from now. So we are kind of cautious. Most of the decisions are made by humans, but we are using AI wherever it is needed. So it's like can do and cannot do. We have a internal guideline.
Super. Sipra, are you back? Do you want to kind of add in here, or is it like, something similar on similar lines? Okay. While Sipra comes back, we can kind of move into the next, segment, which is essentially, as leaders, what are some of the futuristic, tools and products that you would like to see or implement within your organizations, to make things easier? And where would you want to kind of, see them, and what is the kind of impact that you would like them to make? We'll probably start with Sipra. She's back. You're on mute.
Yeah, I just came back. Could you just repeat what you said?
The question is, what next, right? I mean, what kind of tools would you like to see to help you, be more efficient or make decisions? What kind of tools are you already exploring? And, I mean, something futuristic that you want to kind of see AI will do for you as an organization, Sipra.
Yeah, so, one of the things that we talked about at the beginning was, and Chaya also brought it up, is while AI is largely successful for volume hiring, when it comes to a nuanced hiring, I don't know if we are leveraging AI enough. So one thing that would be interesting to see, what kind of data points or how for these nuanced roles or roles for which the talent availability is difficult, how is AI able to help the recruiters or the talent advisors more towards identifying these talent pools and thinking through hiring for these nuanced roles. That's one area that we would have to look at. Also, tools that are also helping in terms of understanding, looking at more what is available internally, looking at the attrition trends within the organization, and helping also leaders understand their workforce demographics, which is required for the future, would be an interesting thing to see. I think in the beginning, Avinash, you talked about using AI for internal mobility. That's one area that is largely to be explored today. And that's one area where, even at Applied, we have been thinking about how do you identify these pockets of talents which are already available in the organization? And do we have enough knowledge about the kind of skill sets that they bring, about the kind of skill sets that they've built over a period of time? And how do we leverage that as well for the workforce as they scale up? I think largely what everybody has been talking about is how can AI help us move towards more of a prescriptive analytics phase? Like, how is it assisting when, today there's a lot of human element involved in the hiring process, and rightly so. I mean, when we move from the different phases, the human touch is very, very important. But how can AI help us identify things where humans are missing, the human oversight? How is AI helping us build some of those so that we are making better decisions? We are not looking at AI taking over the decision making, but how is AI a strategic enabler for us to make better decisions is what we have looked at. And I talked about the analytics part, I think already a lot, so I'm not going to talk about that. But largely, these are the thoughts that I have.
Superb. So AI for specialty, hiring AI for prescriptive analysis, and then of course AI for internal mobility is what you're saying. So Ramit, do you want to kind of, how are you seeing the future? What are some things that you want to see AI do for you?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure there are people who do this for a full-time job, who sit down and think what all AI can do in the talent acquisition space, work with the likes of SAP and IBM and other areas. But in my opinion, the need for me in particular is how to create systems which are smarter than the candidates that we have today. And that will come through learning. So, for example, we being a knowledge space, a highly technical space, the challenge that we experience is how good can AI screen for us, right? So AI has been used for a couple of years for ranking, and now the candidates have started creating resumes through AI. So it's easy to get a rank on the system, what we are trying to do is how do we build an ecosystem where screening can be done post a resume comes in, which checks certain technical aspects, and how can AI recommend some questions and then recommend some answers which are better than what the candidate can give on the go. So my immediate need would be technical screening on AI to keep it short. The rest, I think all the other areas, there are certain capabilities available in the market. To what Cipra said, Gloat has been in the market for internal mobility for almost 4-5 years. They are offering internal talent marketplace through AI to a lot of companies. We implemented that during my time in Schneider Electric. So that's already a space which is very interesting. How you can use that for your skill development internally and also talent mobility within the organization. Apart from that, I think summarizing interviews, getting feedback, etc. is something I would not recommend AI to do at this point, because that's very human specific, and like Suman said, that we have to be very, very careful about how much we use AI and how much it influences our decision-making capabilities.
Fantastic, Ramit. Thank you. Chaya, do you want to tell us where you are seeing AI make an impact or in the future in TA? Okay, we'll come back to Chaya.
Yes, sorry, I think my screen got locked and I couldn't. Yeah, so I think for AI, I think the future of AI, especially when it comes to the overall HR space, right? Not just the talent acquisition as such. I think AI can be leveraged much more smartly and intelligently, specifically around when you're dealing with large data management. Because in the talent acquisition space itself, we deal with huge database, right? I mean, the incoming applications, and then how the performance of the talent pool in the assessment stage, the conversion and all of that, the complete funnel flow of the applicant system. There's huge data which we deal with. So in fact, AI can, a smart tool can perhaps give us some insights about the funnel performance, for instance, what kind of talent is more successful at what kind of roles, and the performance and all of that. Then the quality of hiring, right? I think as we move forward, the quality, it's not about volumes of hiring. We would focus as an industry, because a lot of manual repetitive tasks are getting automated across the industry board, not just in the technology space, right? You see in any industries, we hear that a lot of processes are being automated, be it healthcare, be it retail and all of that. So given that, I think the hiring landscape, it's completely my view, right? So I foresee is that it gets more qualitative. The organizations are getting very picky and choosy about the talent they want to hire. They don't want to kind of hire the army of people for a lot of repetitive tasks. Perhaps more qualitative talent. So hence the quality of hiring becomes much more prominent, and then how the AI can be leveraged to evaluate the quality. Because again, we are talking about a lot of data. Coming back to Shipra's point on the analytics space, right? I mean, there's so much we can do, and data and anecdotes definitely talk a lot of insights for us. The third thing I would also like to talk about, like the talent intelligence. how the talent pool specifically for the talent acquisition. We have teams who are building, manually tracking some of the talent intelligence reports and all of that. How we can leverage AI to give us some insights about the performance, about what kind of emerging talents we foresee and things like that. I think these are some of the areas we can definitely look at AI playing a big role, in my view. Not so much so to Ramil's point in terms of we still continue to have more human interface with the candidates when it comes to assessment. I think we'll definitely have a lot of human interface with the candidates when it comes to engaging evaluation and all of that. But I think the analytics piece is something I feel we have a lot of scope.
Interesting. Thank you, Chaya, for that. We'll bring in Charu here. I think, Charu, did you speak about if you can speak about the future, or what are you seeing? What do you want to kind of implement going forward?
I think plus one to what Chaya was saying, but one thing that I just wanted to add is that it's not here to replace humans, right? It's just here to make us a little more thoughtful and a little more, give us a little more insight as to how you're going to be doing things, and make it a little more organized, and give us back more time to do a lot more strategic work. It's here to do the thinking for us, and to just help us stop doing spend a lot of time on manual things. Like when you're actually going out and sending out a strategic report, then you're just getting some pointers. You're not getting it to do, but just asking. AI is more of the thing that can give you pointers, ask and direct you towards the right question. I think it's a plus one to how we think and how you are going to shape your team better, or even how you're going to shape the talent within the organization better, by actually letting you think and asking you the right questions towards which you can navigate yourself. I would not call AI, at least right now in my space, as the person that's going to take over my job, because there's a lot that I can do and which is confidential. So I think it's more of a thinker and a support system that is going to help anyone in the TA organization think a little more strategically and fine-tune you into doing better going forward.
Okay, hear you. Sumant, you want to come in last?
Sure, Avinash. I think all my friends here covered almost most of the topics, what they expect from AI and how do they see the future of AI is. Maybe I think it may be very relevant to tech hiring perspective. So what I would expect is probably to have adaptive JD kind of an AI assistant, where it creates competency-based job descriptions, right? So that you can custom fit, tailor team context to the team, to the stack which you're looking at. And there are companies who actually do not team-based hiring, but an org-based hiring. So hire for the company and not for the team. But the AI should also be able to let where exactly in which vertical this person is more likely to fit in post the interviews, analyze and give real-time analysis in terms of where this person can actually fit in. And also at times you can expect team-specific success predictions in hyper-contextual predictions, things like, will this candidate succeed in this role, in this team, under this manager? This can happen if you have a competency-based job description and everything is tied to what this person will evolve once that person comes and joins. And of course, last but not the least, you want a single talent platform which can assess right from an ATS to sourcing to interviews to analytics. So you don't want to juggling between multiple AI tools and integrating that with your ATS or HRMS systems in the org. You would try to see what is the best possible tool available in the market which can address all of your needs. So right now, I think maybe AI can be acting as an assistant, but for sure, I think a couple of years from now, it will be an advisor, and the time is not far from an advisor, it becomes a partner. So we need to embrace that change. Given an option, will AI replace people? You should be ready for the fact that, okay, things might get really, really serious. So you can say no, maybe now, but it's not too far where it becomes right now it's an assistant, it becomes an advisor, and then becomes a partner. Then you need to have a certain degree of control in terms of where it can get into and where it can't. So we need to start embracing change as TA and HR leaders, and that is the future for sure. So that's where I see AI taking up the shape in the future. Avinash.
Oh, true, Sumant. I totally agree with you. I mean, while we may want to say that it cannot replace, but I think in the near future, we will certainly have agents and humans working alongside, and I think that's how the future is going to be. So very, very interesting, points that we kind of discussed. Of course, the baseline is the efficiency that AI is driving in the entire recruiting space, for the recruiters, line managers, etc. Also, the candidate experience is kind of enhanced to a large extent, and how some of the elements of compliance and all of that are kind of aligning here, right? One last point that I want to kind of ask the 4 or 5 of you here is, what are your business leaders expecting out of you when it comes to AI? What do they want, that one thing? So this will be the closing note, each one of you. So again, probably Sipra, you want to kind of start?
See, Avinash, I'll probably answer it a little differently, right? I'm thinking from a perspective that the business leaders, what they want from AI in their business, but with AI creating capacity for TA, what they're expecting from TA is more, like I said, like their strategic talent advisor. A lot of times, I feel like when the business leaders today, when they come to us, they come with a requirement, where they have a very typical way of looking at the kind of talent they want. But it is for the talent advisors then go and advise them in terms of how best we can look at the talent pool which is existing and leverage that to fill the positions rather than waiting for the perfect candidate who is somewhere. So that's the shift that is there for all of us as talent leaders, as HR leaders to make, where you are in a position to tell the business in terms of thinking about what their talent needs are. Today, the talent needs, that when we look at talent needs, of course, we are doing a planning for 3 years, 5 years. But when it comes to, filling the talent needs, the vision sometimes I feel is very short term. So how do you partner with the business leaders to help them think about talent long term and advise them in terms of how their talent leads are emerging and how we should go about tapping the talent pool to fill those talent needs.
Yeah, very, very interesting point that you brought in there, Sipra, about the long-term business planning. We'll just come back to that in a bit. We'll just hear the rest and then we can kind of wind this up. Ramit?
Sure, thank you. It's hard to find the unmute button on this app sometimes. From my leadership, there are no particular expectations in terms of AI. I think all leadership would want the value for their money in terms of having human brains being there on the job. So they would expect us to use that as much on a lighter note. But of course, work optimization is something that is an expectation, and that's a long-term vision, not something that they would want us to achieve in a year or two. But long-term optimization, learning of the tools and technologies in the industry, and being offered by multiple service providers, and getting the teams to adopt to it, building enough use case to be able to justify the value for what they're spending their monies on. I think that's the immediate thought that they would have. I was in Malaysia for the eightfold launch, Singapore for the eightfold launch, and my leaders were quite clear about taking this into a phased approach and not declaring a long-term vision without knowing because once bitten, twice shy, we realize that all AI tools may not really offer you what they promise. Just to give a quick background, and since we don't use the tool, I can share. We brought in Hyatt Score a year and a half ago, and I was looking at the data for the hiring in APAC, and I saw that about 50% of the hires that we had in the region for a year were basically ranked C and D. So can we totally rely? So when I highlighted that to the leadership is when we started asking ourselves the question, then are we supposed to use the tool as much as we are? So learning from that, we kind of figured that let's explore. So we are in an exploratory phase on how best we can leverage this technology without putting our money on the table and saying, okay, we'll reduce these many people, we will adopt so much, and we'll bring in spend on this technology, that and the general sense is that be a slow mover in this than to invest too much and then get your fingers burnt. So a tool which is mature in their stage, do your research. If there's a tool which is mature in their journey, then maybe tools which are very new and may not be as evolved, be careful before you spend, and work in parallel. Do not completely give in, like I was talking about cognitive offloading and too much optimization at this point. I think we are all being very careful and discussing here at LAM to AI as a technology.
Cool, Ramit. Thank you. Sumant, Chaya, and Charu.
Yeah, maybe I can go next. Plus one to what Ramil just said in terms of our business leadership wants TA to deliver a position as on yesterday, right? I think I'm sure all the TA professionals here have faced that or facing that, continue to face that, right? They don't care with AI or without AI, how soon can you fill my position? And recruiters are using AI as a magic wand to kind of get that resource quickly. On the lighter note, I think the way the business is looking at TA is more around, they want to take data-driven decisions rather than just be going and saying, hey, you know what, this role takes, let's say, 6 months to fill, so you have to plan your project accordingly and things. Instead, they want to see the data. They want you to do a complete research about, a particular skill and going back and presenting, so that the decisions can be more data-driven than assumption-driven or whatever, right? So that's where the AI will definitely play a big role in terms of getting the data across to the businesses. And the expectation also for businesses to have recruiters as more of their talent advisors. To Shipra's point, they expect them to play more strategic role in terms of advising, what job markets are conducive for them to hire, invest in terms of scaling their teams rather than just going, they'll make the decision and then we are just the delivery folks. Rather, we are part of their decision-making process in terms of when it comes to, let's say, location strategy. I want to expand my team, let's say in Bangalore versus maybe in Pune or something. They want you to be more, be part of their business-driven decisions rather than a fulfilling service or a delivery agent, right? So which means that's where the intel comes into play, and you need to kind of know the talent market landscape, and that's where the data is very, very critical, and that's where recruiter roles are getting more strategic rather than just delivery partners. So the expectation is to move to that level of competence, while delivery is the core, right? End of the day, all your strategy will be nothing if you don't deliver as on yesterday. So I think it's an integrated effort is what the businesses are definitely expecting. So yeah, I mean, that's how we are kind of striving to upskill some of the upskilling programs for our recruiters, be it business partnering or be it talent advisory skills or AI skills are very, very critical and, on priority for us to kind of embrace.
Very interesting, Chaya. Charu and Sumant, quickly.
Hey, I think everyone's already spoken the point. So basically, as strategic talent partners with the business, looking at how you could actually get them insights on the workforce and align with their business goals, and how do you actually start talking to them in their same language as the business talks about their business goals, and how you're actually incorporating it into your world as well, is what is important and what they expect us to do, right? Plus one to everything, and just adding this one point. Yes.
Awesome. Charu, Sumant.
I happily rest my case, Avinash. I think everything is handsomely connected from Charu to Ramit to everybody. So I think, I mean, if you speak
you
the
are
same
a business
language,
leader yourself, so
exactly. So, and I would definitely expect. HRs are already acting as talent advisors and trusted partners, and when you have the data to back up, they generally love and respect the way HR comes and talks in terms of data, meaningful data, right? So most of the work gets done if you talk in the business language sense. As Charu said, the language should be in sync. Business loves data. You need to be speaking in terms of engineering with engineers and operations like ops. That really works. And if that helps from AI, definitely that's something as a business and also as HR I would expect.
Fantastic. Superb. So I think there's a lot that I certainly have taken from this entire conversation. I'm sure each one of you have got something from the rest of the members here. One thing that's kind of standing out is, leaders are looking at, business intelligence, as a key element that kind of can come in here. And, as Global Talent Exchange, we are, building something that can enable, this business intelligence to some extent. We will soon come to you with, some of this. I don't want it to be sounding like a, something salesy, but we are building on this, and we will soon come to you. And we're glad that, there's so much that's kind of happening, and, we are all aligned in terms of the way we are looking at, kind of things. We'd like to, continue to hear from you. This is a series that we kind of run, and we bring in industry leaders from different, industries. There is also a WhatsApp group where we have other leaders. We'd like for you to kind of join that. Nikita will share with you the link of that group. You can continue to share your experiences there so that it'll be easy for all of us to kind of learn from one another. And thank you so much indeed for taking this time and joining us on a Friday morning. Lovely learning from each one of you here. Sumant, Sipra, Ramit, Charu, and Chaya. Thank you again.